I'm officially back home and settled. And I just woke up and I'm really starting to feel this impetus to start talking to myself again. Like things are building up. Being home, I'm really glad to be home. I feel good. But at the same time, it seems like there's a lot of, I don't know how to say this, and I don't want to give out any personal details, so I'll just say that it seems like people aren't doing as well as they could be, whether physically or mentally, or yeah, it just feels like people are over medicated or just not as healthy as they could be, not through any fault of their own, but it just makes me kind of sad and makes me feel extra responsibility towards getting really healthy again, because I find whenever I'm doing really healthy things, really healthy ways of eating and being, people just naturally ask me questions and then I can share. And instead of me being like, I've observed you're not very healthy, which I wouldn't do that, but it affects me to see people being unhealthy, and some people I know seem less healthy in whatever way. I don't want to name details or specifics than just 5 months ago. So I left 5 months ago and then I come back and I'm just like, whoa. So I just feel like I do need to get really healthy, because then people will just naturally ask me questions, and I don't know. And I'm feeling like it'd be cool to share the Hardy Nutritionals product with people, not even just in mental health, but anyone, because other people I know are talking about how they can't remember things as well, and they ask the same question over and over. And so, yeah. And then I met someone the other day who just randomly came up and talked to me and was telling me that they need to see their psychiatrist for a med change because the meds they've been on for a really long time are no longer working. And it felt like the universe speaking to me. Like somebody just coming up and sharing their story of suffering, and I felt helpless to do anything because I have no place to say what I'm doing at this point. So there's so much to talk about. There's so much I'm feeling and feeling into. And I was thinking of just starting a social enterprise just for this conversation with myself, just to give people a voice. And maybe other people would be a part of it somehow, but I just feel like by creating something, basically I don't want to get in any legal trouble for what I'm saying. And I'm just speaking from my experience, and I'm not telling anyone what to do or what to think. I'm just sharing my own process of thinking and discovering for myself and what that leads to for me. But at the same time, I don't really know anything about business, and I just want to release all of this for free. But at the same time, I don't want to harm anybody, or some people might feel like it's harm, but there are other people out there saying really, really powerful things. I came across an article by Dr. Kelly Brogan, and I've decided that she's one of my heroes for sure, because she's a psychiatrist who no longer prescribes meds and speaks very openly against them in powerful ways. And she's a woman, and she's just really intelligent and doing really good things for people. So I'll share some of that article later, but the way she was speaking really inspired me to just keep talking to myself and share that at some point when I know the best way to do that. And the article was really sad because she shared that a man named Michael Stone died, and I'd heard of him before. I might even be on his mailing list, or just have seen some of his stuff through Sounds True or something. I can't remember, but I didn't know that he had a label of bipolar. And I say had because he's no longer living, and reading that just really affected me because I didn't follow his work or anything. There's only so much a person can follow. And I might have, had I known he had this label like I do. But I only happened upon the article because Kelly Brogan's on my Instagram. And so I saw she wrote an article, so I read it, and then it linked to the story of Michael Stone. And I'll talk more about it later, but it was just really sad and affected me because he was a teacher and he had a community of people that he helped, and he was well known in a way. And I don't know how well known or what, but it seems like he was doing a lot of good for a lot of people. And tragic end. He ended up dying. And the statement on his website said that it was likely from something like a fentanyl overdose. And I can just feel the enormity of that, how here's somebody who is helping so many people, maybe appearing to most people that are at arm's length to be doing really well and thriving. And then all of a sudden one day, just gone. And it didn't say anything about if that was the first time, or that's not the point. The point is he was really struggling, and he had been struggling and managing naturally, and then he turned to the psychopharmaceutical option. This is what it said in Kelly Brogan's article. And then needed some form of self-directed medication, which was some kind of street drug. And that was the end. And I just feel like, even though I didn't know him, if someone like him can have a tragic end like that, then it's possible for any of us with this label. Because sometimes I might feel like by talking to myself enough, or by taking enough hearty nutritionals, or by being healthy enough, or having healthy enough relationships, or being altruistic enough and helping enough people, that I might be immune to this kind of tragic end. And this sounds selfish what I'm saying, because I'm relating his death to the possibility of my own, but in a way it's a bit of a gift, in that if it's meant to be that I will have some kind of tragic end, then it's meant to be. Because if he couldn't avoid it, then none of us can if it's meant to be. So I can only continue to do what I can do while I'm still here. Because I was really struggling with this possibility of death from sharing what I have to share. But just reading what Kelly Brogan wrote, and the power from which she speaks, and reading about how this man, Michael Stone, did so much, all he could do to help others, but still really struggled with whatever it was exactly. I don't even want to pretend I know, because I've had my struggles with this label of bipolar and what it implies, and I don't want to assume that someone else is the same or similar. There is something, however, though, and I don't talk about this too much, I don't think, but the real, I don't want to say the real, but there's something to thought to the fact that thoughts kill us. And it's not my thoughts kill me. There's this thought sphere of all these memes, and they're tied into our physiology, and they're going through our nervous system and causing emotions, and then we need something to relieve those emotions, so we react and we try to do something to get rid of it. And I feel like maybe sometimes I have a bit of an easier time because I did work quite a bit before I was ever labeled to have a clear and quiet mind. And it's not always that way. But I don't have any commentary going on in my mind and my brain on a regular basis, at least. And I'm wondering if that meditation headband will help me show that in some way, like if thoughts are correlated with beta and then I do that meditation band, even when I'm alert and there's no beta waves or very little, then it might be able to show that to some extent, or to show what brain waves can be possible during a waking and alert state, yet not have this hypervigilance of thought going on all the time. So when I do have a torrent of thoughts in something like a so-called psychosis, it's very intense. But that's not there all the time, so I don't have to spend every day reacting to it or trying to pacify it. It's only when it is there it seems like 6 to 8 months. So sometimes I wonder about if this self-dialogue can help to organize thoughts or what, because I don't even know if most people realize that they can literally have no inner critic, not change the inner critic to somebody saying, oh, you're so wonderful, you're so great, positive affirmation stuff. There is no me there. There is no self there. It's an epiphenomenon of all these circulating thoughts. So maybe at some point I'll go into that more, and maybe I have along the way, I just don't remember. And what really helped me was reading The Power of Now and practicing the power of now. And then after I did that, I started reading Krishnamurti, and that unfolded my brain into silence even more. And yeah, my brain is mostly silent, but at the same time, thoughts and thought is thought. It's not my thought or your thought. It's not separate and localized in one's head, in my head versus your head. It's all pervasive. It's everywhere. It's like radio waves, and then the radio tuner picks up on it. So sometimes my brain can tune in to a vortex of thought forms and thought memes, and then it's a real struggle for sure. But they're not my thoughts. It's not a personal thing. It feels like I've tuned into a big chunk of thought, trauma, suffering information, and it's brought to my awareness. It's in awareness, but it's not mine. And then I sort of have to go through it and process it. And since it's not mine, and if I'm processing it, it's sort of like processing it for the whole. And I don't know if this is really true exactly, but it's some way that I want to think about it or consider it. In a way, thoughts are a perspective. They're a way of looking. And when they're running through our brains, we're looking through that thought. And we're not actually seeing what's right there, for real, for sure. So when I'm creating new memes and sort of new thoughts for myself, I'm creating how I'm looking in that moment. So if I talk about a certain way of thinking about a certain aspect of mental health and I've never considered that before, it's something new. Well, I'm looking from a new perspective, but doesn't mean I believe that perspective or I cling on to that perspective or I hold that perspective for more than even the time that I say it, because it becomes irrelevant. And even writing things down and saying it later, it is irrelevant. It was relevant in that moment. So when I share things from my notebooks, that was relevant, say, 2 months ago, because I'm really behind right now. It's not really relevant now, but I'm just sharing it for the sake of sharing with myself the thoughts that I come up with, the new memes. I would say they're more like insights. There's a difference between insights and thoughts. And thoughts are part of the collective, they're old. Insights are something new that a brain has seen for itself and understood for itself and wondered about for itself. And not understood in terms of ultimate understanding. It's just a momentary, subjective, limited to that particular context and point in time, perspective and insight. So it's not sharing anything as an ultimate truth. It's more like, this was the truth for me at this day when I was walking here and I noticed this and then blah, blah, blah. It's how my brain seems to work and extrapolate things. And because it's doing that, it's not doing the circular me this and me that thing most of the time. That seems to come in when my consciousness wanders down to the lower levels on the scale of consciousness, like shame and fear and whatever else those things are. I can't remember right now. So I speak more as the level of consciousness that I'm experiencing at the moment, not as this consistent me. And if I was to cling on to anything that I said, the clinging creates the me, because there needs to be some kind of self-reference, some kind of entity to believe something. But if one doesn't believe anything, even anything one has an insight about, then there's no me there, really. So even saying believe positive things is limited. It's likely that there's always going to be some subtle beliefs operating, or one could say things are facts, like you don't have to believe in gravity, but it's there. But one could almost say, well, I believe in gravity or something. Where is the line between true scientific fact and some kind of belief? And I'm not sure, but I'm feeling like it's a scientific fact that there is no me there. And if there's no me there, there can still be an understanding of scientific facts like gravity, but then one isn't going to create a me structure out of insights even. Because thoughts create the me structure because there's a me thinking the thought, but it's just thought, there's no thinker. The thinker is the me, and Krishnamurti says the thinker is the thought, and it's difficult to wrap one's brain around that because we're so conditioned to feel like there is an entity there because the structure of our language is subject, verb, object. This video is already 20 minutes and I'm in a new Wi-Fi zone, so I shouldn't go too long per video because in case it goes in the cloud and all that jazz that I was talking about before. I was feeling like I might take it easy with the videos when I come back, but I just feel inspired to keep going. Summer or not, because summer will wear off here in a month or two and then I'll be sad, but then I'll probably just make more videos until I can figure out the best way to release them. I want to share, but I don't want to be dumb about it at the same time. I don't want to just think, oh, I'm going to share this and everyone's going to think that they can build their own understanding too and not believe what I say and take it on and not attack what I say, because I don't even remember what I say. I just am illustrating that saying is okay. It's okay to say and to wonder for oneself and not have to refer to the bank of knowledge that we've been given. So that would be lovely, but at the same time, it's probably not realistic. So I have to be somewhat smart about it. Yesterday, I did a lot. I did my tax return, and I could have done it in California because I did have all the documents, but I thought I didn't. And so I did that, and then I tried to fix my car door. I can't get out the driver's door because the lock is jammed, and my car is so old that I'm hoping it won't cost a lot of money to fix that. I sprayed a lot of WD-40 in it. I pried off part of the panel, and now it looks like a mess, and it stinks of WD-40. So hopefully someone I know can look at it on Sunday and try and fix it. If not, I'll probably have to take it in somewhere, and hopefully it won't cost too much money, because it could cost more than the car is worth. But at the same time, I don't really want to get a new car right now. So I was doing that and just a bunch of other things. I donated $10 to 2 different things that I support. It's not a lot of money, but it's just a gesture of, yes, I support that, because I'd gotten the mail for them reaching out when I was away. So $10 is probably more trouble than it's worth to process for them, but I did it anyways. And I also set up my sponsor child again because my credit card had expired, and I don't pay the full amount for my sponsor child, but it's nice to at least contribute something, and maybe one day be able to contribute a little more. So it was nice to get those altruistic things going. And this is my sponsor child. I'm not going to show her face because I don't think that is cool to just show her face on video that I might share, but it's nice. And I also set up an appointment to donate blood on September the 12th, which is a day after my 1-year anniversary of doing these videos a lot. So the first anniversary was June 20th. That's when I started doing them, but I didn't start really doing them a lot until September the 11th. So I'm going to donate blood on the 12th unless something happens that I can't. I don't know if I'm not supposed to because I'm on the Hearty Nutritionals, and maybe it could make my body detox more or something, but I've been meaning to donate blood for a while, and I was away, so I want to do that. And also, Dr. Mercola says it's good to donate blood to get rid of some of the excess iron in the body. And women don't have as much trouble with excess iron, but the Hearty Nutritionals I'm taking does have some iron in it. And apparently it's actually not good to have too much iron. It's not good to have too little, but too much actually speeds up the aging process. And I think he also said in his book, Fat for Fuel, that it turns on the potential of some cancer stuff. And in August of last year, I actually had a lump in my breast, and I went to get it checked, and then I refused a mammogram. And I even said this on video, but I remember I deleted it because I was a little bit scared to share that. I didn't want it to be like a self-fulfilling prophecy or a nocebo effect by talking about it. But the last couple of weeks, these have been very sore and bumpy and lumpy, and I feel almost like there's bumps in there that weren't before, like maybe something's getting worse in there. So I'm gonna go see my doctor and maybe ask about that. but I'm wondering if I should get on this ketogenic diet that Dr. Mercola talks about, because apparently it's really good for cancer. And after going through a 5-year chronic fatigue thing, and then being better for 2 years, and then 6 years on medications and in mental health, and just being out of that, I don't really want to have to do the whole cancer thing. So I don't know if that's true. I'm only talking about it because I did have that mini scare last year, and then they wanted to do a mammogram just in case, and I said no, because those can actually add to cancer. Apparently it can increase your chance of breast cancer 1% each time. So if I start at 35 and then get yearly ones or something, then my chances go up significantly. So I'm thinking that these changes that are happening there, if it is something, maybe just changing my diet will make those bumps and that pain go away. It could just be prolonged PMS, but we'll see. I'm supposed to get my period in the next few days, so if this pain goes away after that, then I'm probably fine. But I might do the ketogenic thing. But then Hardy Nutritional said be careful of changing your diet in a big way, because it can cause a detox reaction from the meds even more. So I have to be a little bit careful.